Hi, everyone, and happy Monday. Welcome to another week, the last week of October. Time is flying. So, I once heard a saying: the best way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time. It's a bit of a strange one, and just for clarification, I am not advocating the actual consumption of elephants. Now more than ever, things can feel very overwhelming. And while there are some sources of that feeling of being overwhelmed that we can't necessarily change right now, this is one of the things I try to focus on when I feel like the things I need to accomplish are just too big. See, if, for example, eating elephants were legal, well, and you were not vegetarian or vegan, the prospects of eating one would be quite overwhelming. If you stand back and size up an elephant and think to yourself, wow, I need to eat that whole thing, you'd feel overwhelmed. You'd probably feel like there's no way that I'm ever going to eat that whole thing. And you would be right. If your goal was to eat that whole thing at once, you couldn't. But you could eat it one bite at a time until it was gone. I started thinking about this pretty strange saying on Saturday when Donna and I were out for a hike. And we got to a particular spot that involved a lot of steeper downhill, which she doesn't particularly like. And she started feeling overwhelmed by it. And I could tell that this feeling of being overwhelmed was because she was looking in the distance at the totality of what we had to do. So I said, don't look at that. Just look at the step in front of you. You know, sometimes it's essential for strategic planning purposes, for example, to look at the 30,000-foot view. But when you get to the point where the rubber meets the road, that 30,000-foot view can be overwhelming. And our students experience the same thing all the time, right? They have to write a 10-page paper, and they just avoid it and put it off and distract themselves because writing a 10-page paper feels overwhelming. So what do we often advise them? Essentially, to eat the elephant one bite at a time. Don't think about writing a 10-page paper. Think about selecting a topic. Then think about developing a thesis. Then think about roughly outlining your ideas. Then think about finding some library materials. Then. Because sitting in my feeling of being overwhelmed, I may not even be able to think about writing a 10-page paper. But I can probably wrap my head around that first bite of selecting a topic. I do this all the time. I'll take the thing that is making me feel overwhelmed and I'll write out all of the bites that I need to take, no matter how small, so that all of the component parts feel less overwhelming. I do it at work. I do it at home. Heck, I do it for races even. I have a half marathon plan detailed out section by section. And here I have a list of all the steps to cleaning up the backyard. Some of these steps, once I get to them, will take me 1, maybe 2 minutes. That feels a lot less overwhelming than cleaning up the backyard. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, first of all, I want to acknowledge that, yeah, it's an overwhelming time. But aside from the overwhelming times, if you have overwhelming tasks, consider breaking them down into ridiculously small bites and see if that makes eating the elephant seem a little bit more manageable. Have a great week, everyone.